Yo, what is going on YouTube? It is WheelieWeasel here, and today, as you can tell, we're starting off the video just a little bit different than normal. We are next to the bike instead of on the bike. If you also can't tell, we are on our carport. We have got it tarped in a little bit. That's what that big blue thing is over there. Gray thing is over there. It is really cold out, and yeah, it's been really cold out the last little bit. That's why I've not been able to upload, and I do apologize for that. So we have kind of like winterized the carport so we can get out here, work on the bike, and try to upload some content for you guys. So today, what we're going to be doing is changing the rear sprocket and changing the front sprocket and the rear brakes. So we got some rear brakes because our rear brakes are metal on metal. If you guys haven't been able to tell in the last few videos, it's not been great. And we're going to change the rear sprocket and the front sprocket, hopefully to get some more torque out of the thing and be able to ride a little bit better wheelies. We was talking about that in the last video. The reason being is because the rear sprocket, I feel like it's too small. This bike has like way too much top speed. You can tell it's meant to be a road bike. First gear is like second and third gear on most 450s, and second is like third, fourth, and fifth on like other 450s, depending on like how you got your bike geared. So we're hopefully gonna get first to feel like actually first, and second to feel more like first gear does currently. So we're going up 3 teeth in the rear and down 1 in the front. We're gonna try to get quite a bit of torque out of it. We're gonna get as much torque out of it as we can. That way we don't have to stay on the clutch at all. We really want this thing to feel more like an XR by the end of this video. So without further ado, let's get into tearing this thing apart. Okay, so first things first is we're gonna take this axle nut off, or castle nut, whatever you really want to call it. Don't have a wrench that'll fit, so I always just use vice grips. You know, a lot of people complain about, oh, why do you use vice grips? You clamp it on just the right size, kick it like one good time, that way it just like breaks everything loose. It's not gonna round the nut off, you're not gonna have any issues out of this. I've always used vice grips. More specifically, I've always used these pairs of vice grips on mostly every bike I've had. If you can't tell, these are owed. So see, we got it clamped on there real tight, make sure it fits. We'll get it to a part where honestly I like to kick it because you've got more power in your legs than you do in your arms. So we'll get her like that and then just kick her loose. Problem solved. So the next step after this is you want to get you a good pecker. Obviously a pecker is a hammer. Get you a block of wood. You don't want to just hammer straight onto the axle. I've done this on this axle right here, and we had to grind the head of it off a little bit so we could fix the threads on it. And I've done it on plenty of axles, so you know, I don't know if it was just this KLR axle, but grab a block of wood, you know, slap right here, you know, love tap like so. Thread to be safe, might be a little dirty. Okay, next what I'll do from here is I'll loosen up my chain bolts, or my chain nut, whatever we call it, chain adjuster nut. And then I'll try my best to get the old axle out without messing it up. This thing is, you know, it was a pain in the hind end to get out last time. I think it's because it was dry. We did lube it up, but still a pain in the hind end to get out, so hopefully it's not that bad. Okay, now that you have your chain adjuster bolts loosened, you want to pull the axle out. You'll have somebody wiggle the wheel a little while they're lifting up on it, or you can just do that and then grab hold of the axle, yank it out. Should come out pretty easy. Like I said, this one was a pain in the butt, but we should still be able to get this one out pretty easy. Look at her, she's dry again. Have to give her some lube again. Man, these old KLRs have some big tires, big everything. They're just big all over. All right, guys, as you can tell, we've got the sprocket ready to change. These KLRs have a weird little thing. I don't know if you've seen bikes like this before, but you can take these sprockets out and have like little bushings or boots in there or whatever. But yeah, we going from a 42 to a 49. I don't know if you can tell the difference, but that is, God, that is a massive difference. That thing is gonna have, just from that right there on its own, it should have plenty of torque. But we're gonna go down 1 tooth in the front. Honest to God, that might be too much torque. We might have to replace the front sprocket back with a stock sprocket, but we don't know until we try it. So without further ado, let's get into swapping these sprockets. Okay guys, so if you couldn't tell, that was absolutely a pain in the freaking hind end. Got gloves on, albeit they are Hyper Tough gloves, not sponsored by the way, so they don't pad very well. They are better than nothing, and man, still hurt my freaking hands trying to break those loose. Okay, this is before and after. As you can tell, this is the before, this is the after. This sprocket is a lot larger, like it's just a lot larger. So that, like I was saying, that should give it quite a bit more torque, and it's got more teeth. It's got 7 more teeth, so it should give quite a bit more torque. Want to look for the label up when you're replacing a sprocket. I mean, I don't think it really matters unless you're on a sprocket that has like the bevels in it for, you know, the the nuts, but this one, I don't think it matters, but we're gonna do it right anyway. Look at there, that looks so good to grab these nuts out of here. All right guys, so if you're not used to tightening things up that are in a big circle pattern like this, I like to do it in a crisscross pattern. This is the way my grandpa's always taught me. Grandpa always worked on everything growing up, so I'm gonna go with Grandpa. Definitely knows what he's talking about. So we'll tighten them up crisscross. So here, 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 here. We'll go here, 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 and here. Just big crisscross pattern. I think what that does is it gets it to where it's not unevenly tightening it up. So like say you tighten these down really tight first, and then these would be like harder to tighten it up. It would put stress on the bolts or on the threads or nuts or whatever. So that's my assumption. I don't know if that's what it does, but that's what it seems like it does. So as the title states, this is probably like my #1 tip when it comes to wheeling a bike. A lot of people ask, Weasel, how do you wheelie everything that you own? Well, I don't do this to everything I own, but you know, majority of things that you own, you definitely want to make sure that it's geared right, because if not geared right, then you're not going to be able to wheelie it, or if you are, you're going to have trouble. So like say you have, like I had this KLR650. A lot of people struggle to wheelie these things because, you know, you can't really pop them up in first gear unless you like dump the clutch hard or get on the throttle hard, and it's just not coming up in second unless you really try. So, you know, you would have to gear this thing a little differently if you want to ride some wheelies on it. Put you a bigger rear sprocket, smaller front sprocket, get it set up, that way it has some more torque, good to go. It's kind of like a little secret. Not really. If you ride a lot, it's not a secret. But you know, if you don't ride a lot of these people don't know what these things do. So if you didn't, here you go.
Many minutes later.
All right guys, so after all this hassle to get that dang thing off, I've done a little bit of research online. That nut's a 27mm. I unfortunately don't have a 27mm. I'm not going over to the hardware store right now to go get a 27mm just to take that sprocket off and change it, because I've been thinking, you know, I'm going up 9 teeth, not 9 teeth, I'm going up 7 teeth in the rear. Normally that would be enough on its own, and then going down 1 tooth in the front would be like going up 3 more in the rear. That would be probably crazy. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna leave this front sprocket on here, test it out, and if it ends up being good, we'll keep it, and if not, then we'll swap it out in the next video. All right, bulls, so we're gonna have to put this rear tire on there first real quick. As I figured out on the internet, I had to look it up. You can replace these rear brakes with the tire still on these bikes. I did not know that. That's actually like kind of crazy to me, because all these bikes that I've ever had, never been able to do that. But yeah, that front sprocket ends up having to be a pain in the hind end to change. We don't have a 27mm bolt or socket to go over that big nut on the front. So what we're gonna have to do is just toss this on here and ride it with this rear sprocket on here. And if it's enough, then we won't have to change the front sprocket. And if it's not, then we'll change the front sprocket. So, you know, we're not gonna change the front sprocket in this video. You know, if you guys want more torque out of your bikes, changing the front sprocket along with the rear sprocket definitely will help. But we're gonna go ahead and toss this tire on there and see how good it does. The only issue, in my opinion, when it comes to like putting a rear tire on or something like that by yourself, is when you got like pads and stuff like that back here flapping around. Definitely makes it a little bit more difficult to deal with than it needs to be. So we need to toss our little bushing things in there, little spacers, make sure everything's lined up, and then we'll start feeding it through. Okay, so now we're gonna throw it back on the chain, make sure the chain's good and adjusted. Once we get it back on there, we won't adjust it like right away. We're just gonna, you know, try to make sure everything adjusts as good as we can. All right guys, so now we're gonna get the chain on the old dirt scooter. Everything lined up, tossed on there. All right guys, now we're gonna remove the rear brake caliper. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna have to remove these two 6mm Allen bolts here. We wanna break our screwdriver. I think we did, hold on, I'll be back. Okay guys, I've already broke my screwdriver trying to get this bolt out here. So we're gonna take another little screwdriver thing that is not like got the little gear in it. We're gonna take it to it here. This one is stripped out, as you can tell. It twists freely in both ways when it's not supposed to. It's supposed to lock in one side. So we're gonna have to use this one. Hopefully we don't break this one or strip a bolt. Okay guys, so we tried to take the rear brakes out. We've ended up breaking a screwdriver. This one just twists in both directions. Can't twist it with this one. So we gotta break out the old impact and see if we can't get the impact fit into this little area right here. Break this loose. Hopefully we don't round the bolt out. That's not what I want to do, obviously. I want to break the bolt out, get it out, break it loose. I don't want to round it out or anything. So we got perfect little size to fit in here. Put them in there and give it hell. Dang. Balls. What are we to do?
1 hour later.
These plungers on both sides just with your fingers.
Push that plunger down. That pad should just fall out. Yeah, look at that. Metal on metal. Look, there is no pad left on that. None. That's just metal. Lord. Look at there. That one is also metal on metal. It's kind of beyond metal on metal. I eat more into the pad on that one.
A little longer than a few minutes later.
So this back pad, I think it just sets in there against the retainer clip because it didn't have anything really holding it in. They go like this, obviously. So it'd be like this. But looky there. You have to toss the old caliper on like so. Make sure it's good and lined up, which is one of the harder parts. And then look, when you're done with this is not like done. On these KLRs, you'll have to get your plunger seated back like that. So you just pump the brakes. Okay, you got a good pedal. Slap your little bolts back in there. All right, boys, I'm back. Sorry for that brief little break, but we had to go to Hazard, which is the town where I live. And we had to go all the way out there, go to Ride Center USA to go pick up a chain. Thank the Lord they had one in stock. I'm so grateful they had one in stock. Also very grateful they let me have it for a little discount, so I didn't have to pay full price on this chain. It wasn't a O-ring chain, just a standard heavy-duty chain, so it should be able to take some abuse. But it is also, like I said, not an O-ring, so we'll have to grease her up more often. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna remove this chain, toss on this brand new chain up here. Hopefully we don't have to remove any links out of it. We should be good to go. We're not gonna do any riding because it is dark, if you can't tell. We have tossed up another tarp over here, turned the heater up a little bit higher, and trying to stay a little warm. My camera's about to die. I charged my batteries. It's so cold out here though that I can't really do much just because it's literally in the 30s out right now. Well, probably in the 20s now. I'm gonna go ahead and slap this chain on here. I doubt you guys will be able to see that. I mean, it's not that important anyway. I'm just throwing the chain on. So in tomorrow's video, or the video after this, we should be able to, I think I'm hoping we should be able to go for a test ride maybe to test out the chain, but we might have to fix a sputtering issue first. Maybe we'll go for a test ride, see if it's still sputtering. If it is, then fix the sputtering issue after. But you know, that's like that's what we got planned for the future. But if you guys enjoy the video, please be sure to drop a like on the video. You know, big thumbs up helps out the channel tremendously. Also, subscribe. It's free to you. Helps out me. It helps me out a ton. Also allows you to not miss what I upload next. But this has been the WheelieWeasel. Peace out.